video. Yeah, Pat. No,
All right, everybody. And now our special guest, Jermaine Jackson. I'm just playing.
Was he in the film? Because we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, he was in the beginning.
He was so cool to us in Greece, where he filmed that $2 million video, and we never met him.
You guys realize, of course, that was something else that was added, right?
Oh, of course.
Okay,
Yeah, of course.
It's got a better budget than the movie. Like,
oh yeah, just because they like our movie doesn't mean they're dumb. They get
it was a massive.
So don't go that far. We might be dumb too. So.
But Helena lives in Portland.
I was going to ask, Helena, you're in Portland? Okay.
Portland, Oregon. Yep.
How are you guys from all over the place and all here? Like, how did this come about? Are you guys all part of the podcast?
James is magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, James is magic.
White man magic.
And do you do this all the time? Like, is your podcast with all of you guys usually?
More or less, yeah.
That's fun.
Kind of thing, yeah. We interchange for different movies. And...
That's super fun.
Yeah, I was shocked. Cool.
That's awesome.
I didn't expect a panel. Who know more about the film than we do.
So hard later. You're just going to be like, how are asking questions?
This is the future of The View right here. You're looking at it.
I just realized I really have to apologize because I don't have a Voyage of the Rock Aliens tattoo on my cult musical sleeve. So I'm sorry. I have space here, so I can get it right now.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, don't. Your
worse.
Body is a temple.
Let's do that to yourself. That's the mark of the. It's the mark of the beast. It's the mark of the beast.
No, Mark of the Beast is the BIM mark from the cult musical The Apple.
Which I have that.
Oh, that's true.
I have the Mark of the Beast right here.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right here.
Wow. The Mark of the Beast.
Yep. And my best friend has the same one. So, yeah.
But
can you hear me? Because I can't see me now because I switched cameras.
We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. It's probably good enough.
James, are you getting a feel for what it must have been like, James?
I love it.
This is band rehearsal right here.
Oh.
You're seeing.
If you return as a cat, I will understand it's you and not actually a cat.
A cat. It's all right. He can edit this all out. It's fine.
Oh yeah, yeah. No. Let me tell you something before we get started. Before we get started, no, we have had the best of luck. We've interviewed everybody that we love. You know, we talk about cult musicals. We've been so lucky to get cult musical stars like yourself. But we get the odd fan that will ramble on for 4 hours about Lucille Ball, and we have to edit it out.
Oh wow!
Stop talking about this. He's triggered. Okay, look. Okay, you're the one that invited the Lucy case. It's not my fault. It takes 4 hours.
Lucy, I love Lucy.
Here we go again.
Well, there's a song about that.
Oh, and he will ramble. So get ready to cut. Get ready to cut him off.
A rambling guy.
So Gregory Bond, I don't think his camera's working.
Yeah, it's
Greg. Are you here, Greg?
I'm
Greg?
Can you guys hear me? I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Greg.
I hear
Gregory
you.
Bond.
But I'm trying to log on my tablet, which that's what Zoom is on. But I haven't used this tablet for a long time.
Are you talking about Lexa Pro?
Pretty much, yeah.
You shouldn't be on tablets when you're doing podcasts. You should come in here sober.
Okay, well, secondly, I feel like that's bad advice.
My magic tablet. My magic tablet. Yeah.
We know what that's.
Who's taking Lexa Pro? I take Lexa Pro.
And I can't even remember what I can't.
I used to be an
remember
amateur depressive.
I got Wellbutrin too. I mean, they got 300s, I got 150s, I got 75s. What do you need?
Can we not get banned from Zoom and get me deported from the UK for y'all?
Well,
doing
we're not live yet, so it's all
Are
good.
we talking about drugs? We're talking about legal drugs.
Yeah, these drugs are
They're legal.
Prescription.
I'm not talking about the crazy shit Florida has. Don't even worry about it.
Oh Lord.
Florida.
Hey, I'm in Colorado. I'm in Colorado, so yeah.
Crazy shit there too.
Yeah, I'm in Oregon. Psilocybin is legal here.
They legalized psilocybin a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
What's that?
That's magic mushroom.
Magic mushroom.
Mushrooms.
Yeah.
I want to
wonderful
do mushrooms,
substance.
but unfortunately, it's like you have to go to a service center here to do them, and it's like
To get 'em.
$3,000. I'm like that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like high enough on my own. I don't need to pay $3,000 to do mushrooms.
Well, good for you.
Well,
Do you
Mark-
know that I told Renee and Hades beforehand? I was like, they used to be a Christian band, so we might need to tone down some of our conversation.
Yeah, we're
and
gonna
our
we're gonna
language.
debunk,
Tell us
we're gonna
what we
debunk
need.
all of
Tone
That's
that.
it
no,
way
what
down.
that's
Yeah.
used to be. We
We're
are
gonna
not that
debunk all
now.
of that.
We're
You
not
know
a
how Christian we
band.
aren't. Mark and I live in LA, and there's a delivery service that delivers mushrooms to anyone who orders them, and the people that deliver them look like porn stars.
That's
They're
fantastic.
these big-breasted women that show up with mushrooms at your door in
How do
Los
I get-
Angeles.
Do they
Praise
have those in
Jeebus.
Phoenix?
That's amazing. They did that for weed here.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, they do that for-
big motherfuckers with weed.
Oh,
But
yeah, we
I
don't
mean,
get big
no, there's no
I
kitty
want-
delivery service.
It makes me
James
wonder
killed
if they're.
James is dead.
It makes me wonder if they're like, giving these side jobs to the sex industry workers, to supplement their income or whatever. I'm just
But
wondering if
Everybody
it's
needs a
like
side
$1,000
hustle.
How else are you going to get through
a
college?
side hustle.
Oh,
Yeah.
DoorDash.
Boobs and
college.
butts.
Boobs and butt and shrooms.
Boobs and beyond.
Okay, Greg's in
Buds
here
and
again.
beyond. Boobs and
Okay.
beyond.
Yeah.
Did Greg finally make it in? Yeah. No.
Yeah,
So
it just
he
took it that long.
Oh no, I just see his name. That's all.
He's
No,
still
Greg
working on
is-
the video.
Greg's in here twice, so I'll have to figure out which
Okay,
one's working so I can remove him.
upload the phone. I'm on my phone, but the camera isn't working on my phone. So
Typical Greg
Okay.
Bond. It's got to be.
This was me
And-
last time, so I can't complain.
Um,
Remember last time it took me like 10 minutes to get my
join-
That's because you're on opioids.
I'm
my
joining.
God.
Yeah, we
It
know why
says
you
that,
behave the way you behave.
Okay. Okay. Oh, this is pretty bad. It's asking if I want Wi-Fi or dial-in. What do we think?
Some of us haven't left the 80s.
Go for Wi-Fi.
Would you like to travel back to
I want to
1997?
hear that modem
Okay.
sound.
Do you want me
Do
to
the
sing you the
dial
song
in.
of
The
our
AOL
people?
tone lasts for 12 minutes. It's very soothing.
Okay, one
Okay.
second. Greg.
Am I on there
Modem
somewhere?
noise.
Greg's going on an adventure.
Is my,
Okay.
is my video on yet?
Now,
No.
Oh, help me. What do I do? I never do this. So
Well,
Okay,
did you
go.
pick Wi-Fi? Did you pick Wi-Fi?
Yes, and he hasn't
There you are.
changed at all.
Put the t-shirt on. Yay, it was worth it. Yay.
There he is.
Hey, where did you get that?
where the fuck did you get that?
We all want
I
one.
want one.
Yes.
That's
This is
impressive,
40 years
Greg.
old. This is
That's
40 years
impressive.
old.
Oh,
No
original.
way.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's had this for 40 years.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Throwing a red bubble right
Under
now.
my bed with the ashes of my
That's
second
insane.
dog. Yeah.
Ooh. Never the
James,
same.
you definitely have.
That brought the
a
whole
cult-
room down.
Yeah. James,
My
you have a
dog's
cult
over here
musical
wiggling.
messiah that's watching out for you because I've seen some of the people you've gotten to interview. It's pretty impressive. I just want to let you know, having Greg Bond join us for a podcast is
Momentous.
monumental.
Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. We
Yes.
love y'all.
Yeah.
He
This
knows what
movie.
he's
What you got there? You got your whiskey?
What are you drinking, Greg Bond?
Yeah.
Whiskey?
It's gonna
It's,
get sloppy.
right. You know what? It's not even Diet Dr. Pepper and cheap vodka today. This is whiskey and tonic. How about that?
One thing you
Well,
can say about
wow,
cult
you've-
music, not only people that are in it, but people that love them, we all are definitely addicted to antidepressants of some kind. So that, I think that says a lot about the genre.
Well,
Or
the
about our
cult
podcast.
musicals are very cathartic, and I'm over the moon, no pun intended, that we got Rhema. Is it Rhema or Rhema?
Rhema, it's Rhema.
Rhema. That we got Rhema together because I mean, it's a miracle to have y'all all here because Voyage of the Rock Aliens is such a niche but wonderful and highly underrated cult musical, and the fact that we have 4 of the Rock Aliens here is just blowing my mind. And before I dote on y'all too much, I want to go to my co-host and have them tell me and tell you all the first time they saw it and their reactions. Helena?
All right. I actually didn't see this until fairly recently. I don't know how this escaped my radar because I watched every one of these movies that were exactly like this and I love them. And it's what I call kitsch punk from the 80s, which was that whole thing about retro, like 50s versus new wave versus just like messed up comedy. And that's what I love. And of course, it's all the things. And of course, you pile Pia Zadora on top of it. And it's just a masterpiece. And it's right up there for me with the Jim Varney, who was Ernest, his film Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloom Beam, which
Oh wow.
I'm gonna put these
It's
two
like
films
really
together in a
good
double feature.
processed cheese.
It's gonna be epic.
And Ashley,
So I am a big fan of cult musicals. I've got, a lot of crap going on here. I saw this for the first time 24 hours ago. So I had not seen it before. And James was like, "Hey, you want to join?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And the way he got me to join was he's like, what did you say? It's like Earth Girls meets Crybaby or something like
no,
that.
I said it's Grease 2. It said it's Grease 2.
That's what it
Meets
is.
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Which it 100% is. And I was like, you know how to sell me. You know me that well. And it absolutely, I loved it. Of course, immediately when I started watching it, I was like, that's Rachel's boss from Friends. And that guy was on CSI. And
Yep.
it was,
Right.
it's so much fun.
Yep.
And it's so outlandish, like in the same way that Earth Girls is. Completely ridiculous, but I was just laughing the whole time. I was like, these people had so much fun. You can tell how much
We had a lot
fun
of fun.
everybody
Except for Greg. Greg will tell you he didn't have fun because his family was there. And he had to take care of his newborn and his wife.
I had a little bit of fun. My wife had just had a baby, and I had to fly her out there to help her take care of the baby while we're trying to do the film. So there was that.
No, but we did it. We had a lot of fun. We hung around with Cheryl Ladd, who was there with her husband. He was a producer. And we spent a lot of time hanging out with her. And that was cool. And what else did we do?
Don't start telling
Is
stories
there-
yet, Wilford.
Michael Berryman.
Yeah.
Michael Berryman.
Michael
Yeah.
Berryman was
Yeah, but we're-
cool.
Yeah, we haven't heard. James asked.
We haven't heard from everybody on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them ask the question.
Hades and Mary Poppins. Tell me about y'all's reaction to.
I want you to know that James bullied us into watching this movie. He did.
He seems like a
I'm
bully.
glad he did. That being said, I'm glad he did because I loved it. I was screaming. The set pieces, the robot, the evil looking robot, like it was like shock treatment in space with like some MST3K.
A hint of Crybaby.
Hint of Crybaby / Grease. I'm still not sure what happened, but I really like what did happen, even if I and I was visually like, what is happening?
Yeah, I literally watched it this morning around 10 a.m. Like no, it was like noon.
It was later, and I was like, we have to do it. James says we have to.
Yeah, and I'm like, girl, this bitch ain't paying us to do the podcast. We doing this because we love you and it's fun. And it's like a movie club and it's a lot of fun. I love our little musical movie club that we do. And James gives us these weird films to watch. This was a very enjoyable weird film, and I love those. So I'm glad you bullied us into watching this because it was a lovely time getting bullied. I love the aesthetic, like space aliens coming for rock and roll. I don't know why one of the Jacksons was there. He had a great time doing anything, and that was a great fucking song.
Oh, but we had Riff Raff Fester.
Oh yeah, Uncle Fester meets Riff Raff was
That
there.
was great.
That was spectacular. That is mental patient. Why there was mental patient? Don't know. Loved it. Like it was Uncle Fester meets Riff Raff, and like the whole thing was just this crazy whirlwind, and it was a lot of fun, and it was beautiful. Like aesthetically,
Yeah,
and
it
like
really
the
was.
music slaps. All the music slaps. It was a lot of fun. Every time.
It was truly enjoyable. I was like,
Yeah.
this is a musical. You're right.
Yeah, and the aliens, I love the crew of ding dongs. Y'all were so funny. It was so perfect.
The first time
Aw.
I saw this was 2015, 2016. And then I wrote a paper about it and then like a blog for grad school. And I remember had a really like cheap website, and the song that I had open the website was 21st Century because I loved this movie so much, and I feel like it was so underappreciated. I mean, it's got everything that I love. It is Grease too. Earth Girls Are Easy. I'm obsessed with Michael Jackson, so you got to throw him the Jermaine Jackson. I was aware of Pia Zadora, but you all just make the film, and I just love it. And I think it's escapist entertainment. And I think you all are so endearing in it. And I don't know if the movie would have been as hilarious and as timeless if you all weren't in it, because you all make it. I mean, it's Voyage of the Rock Aliens. You have Frankie and you've got, Pia Zadora's characters, but you all make it, and you look like you're having such a great time doing it.
Well, thank you.
All except for new fathers, of course.
Who
hated
had a
the
little
whole
bit of
thing.
fun doing a film.
He had fun.
We had
he just
fun.
doesn't want to
We-
admit it.
We had fun.
Okay, we had fun.
It was stressful at times, but
What we're wondering, and y'all all can give y'all's own opinion. So, how were you all recruited to be in this intergalactic 80s kitschy, campy musical? How were y'all? Because you guys were a set, you guys were together already. So, how
Yeah.
were y'all thrown into this?
You made a mistake, not your fault, on your interview that you had, that you thought somebody on the interview thought that we did the music specifically for this movie.
Mhm.
We'd already done it.
Oh,
And
wow.
then they just added the music that we'd done to the movie. So we didn't write the music for the movie. They kind of
Yeah, part of part of the kit that we were doing some pretty kind of kitschy techno pop anyway, right? We had gone, kind of Devo and in that area, but more synthetic, and we were kind of influenced by Thomas Dolby and some of those. And at the same time, we were really kind of doing the quirky stuff. We'd written Combine Man, which is very kind of a different approach to songwriting, in that the lyrics are all the sort of the rantings of a person who was I guess a mental patient, or I don't know how you would describe him politically correctly, but we were on that track to kind of do
intellectually
more
impaired.
quirky.
Intellectually
Yeah, there you
impaired
go.
is the term.
Yeah. And this is I shouldn't even be talking about this. You can talk about it because it was you and Jeff who knew him, but the thing is that we were on that track to do this kind of stuff. And then Jeff, you want to talk a little bit about how we got to the point of doing showcases for?
Yeah, I'm going to defer this because and then Greg disappears just when we need him. He disappears. Okay.
Oh,
Thanks, Greg.
what? Yeah, no. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually going to ask Greg to tell the
my old
story of how.
tablet. Okay, this is the deal. We had been trying to.
Here we go.
We met actually quite organically. We were in different groups. Mark and I had been in a band, and then Craig joined, and then a little bit later we got Jeff. And so, but we were really just trying to kind of get a record deal. But eventually we had recorded in a few local studios, and people were getting to know who we were. And I was doing a lot of commercial jingles at that point. And so eventually we all were doing that kind of work. We're doing commercial jingles and station IDs and that kind of work. And briefly, okay, a couple of motorcycle guys, Hell's Angels, that had gotten a big insurance settlement, liked what we were doing and funded us to do some demos. That was the beginning of whatever, but we were always just chasing what we thought was going to be the next big thing. But by the time we heard it, it was already last year's big thing. So we moved a couple of notches ahead and into the techno stuff, and that's what they were wanting. And somehow it got out in LA. We were in Phoenix, so somehow this got out in LA, what we were doing. And and I'm going to see if I can get the picture back on here. I might have to put this on a.
That is not the origin story that I was thinking.
No, so James, so to clear something up for you, we were involved in contemporary Christian music early on, and Greg and Mark were in a band called Rhema that was a Christian band, and I was in a Christian band, and we merged. But by the time we merged, we were in no way doing music for a risen Savior. We wanted to get a record deal, and Jesus
we
was
to be
against
rock
us.
stars.
Yeah, so there is some truth to the Christianity angle, but it was a very small part. Rhema was not the aliens had nothing to do with Jesus, and she was pissed at us. Jesus, she wanted to kick our ass, but we left her.
I got to ask one question right here because you're talking about this. I saw on one of the trivia pages that the name is an acronym for Rebel Heretics Electronic Music Alliance.
Mark Jackson.
Thank you, Mark.
Is that true?
That's so yeah, but it's so much an afterthought. So
Okay.
so we Rhema, the guys that you're talking to here along with Pat, and then we had a bass player at the time.
This is an old tablet. I got Zoom on.
We had
This is what happens when you talk to grandfathers. This is what happens.
Grandpa, we had a bass player.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah.
James, you can
That's
mute
his
him.
son.
James will fix this.
Yeah,
in
mute
post.
him.
It's
Mute
fine.
him, James.
Okay, cool. And if we see him again, we can unmute him. But yeah, we were what was I saying? I forgot.
You were
Yeah, about the name.
Oh yeah, the name. So we started out as a Christian band. When I was 17 when it started, and we started out as New Zion, and then later on we renamed it to Rhema. But Rhema was the reason. Rhema's if you look up Rhema, you'll see nothing but Christian stuff. And basically, what it was a Greek word that means to bring to life, or to words to action. It's a Greek word, but it's sort of been appropriated for Christianity. The living word is what they would call it. And so that's that tracked with how, what we were trying to do with the Christian thing. But Rhema only exists right now basically because Jeff and I started to talk again, and we started writing music together, and so we released a Rhema album. So then, and we hadn't really been talking to Craig and Greg that much at the time, and so I added that acronym to just try to make it, I don't know, more along the lines of where our heads are at these days, So we kind of reinvented a little bit.
We released an album just before COVID under the name of Rhema. He gave it that acronym. And that's why I made the comment about Greg, because we started getting podcast requests for the movie. Because Rhema was being seen again. Although the guy who did your original review said we couldn't find any digital footprint for these guys, which is true. But once we had a footprint, podcast started asking us to be on, and Mark and I would do those without these guys. That's why this is monumental.
Not to be shady, but to be truthful, that queen didn't know what he was talking about, so that's why he's not on this podcast no more. I think he just left accidentally.
Yeah, we'll just move forward. He'll show up. Greg comes and goes. He's a ghost.
So
Here's a fun fact that we forgot to say was that Greg and Jeff and I were playing together in '77 at Grand Canyon University in the jazz band.
A Southern Baptist college.
Yeah, it was a Southern Baptist college. That's where I really started falling away from the faith.
Yeah, the Southern Baptists will do that to you.
Oh yeah.
I didn't go there because I went there because I got a jazz piano scholarship. I was hoping for one from Juilliard, but that wasn't coming. So no, that's where we met. And then, like Jeff said, he was in another band called Revelation, and then in about 1979 and early 1980, we all came together and started recording in Soundtech Studios in Phoenix. And then we worked our way.
Greg knows every little minor detail. His mind is unbelievable.
Well, which is probably pretty boring.
Yeah, exactly. They don't
Greg
care about the
started-
details. They want to know
Yeah.
about the movie.
No, we
Oh, yeah,
care.
can go to the movie, but
Oh, tell
no,
us
we
everything.
started working our way through the studios. Then we got up to the point where we were recording all this stuff. Finally.
Yeah, and then there was a point there where Craig had Greg was hi Greg,
There he is.
and
Yes,
Greg was in
Greg.
the Greg and his wife were in the band at one point, and at one point I think we had like almost 9 members or something, right?
Oh wow.
And then a drummer that kept coming and going, and then we started to do like fusion stuff, like influenced by like Gino Vanelli or those types. Craig brought a lot of that to it because he was
Genesis
his jazz
and-
stuff
yes,
coming in.
and
So we were
stuff.
so we were fusing stuff and doing something more arty, and then I think I started like saying, look, I don't want to do Christian music. I want to get a deal. I want to do something beyond this. And I started talking about it, and I felt like, I think Greg was on board. Jeff wasn't there yet. Jeff, were you there? Were you already there
No.
before I left for Oklahoma?
No.
Were you already in the
No.
band? Okay.
No.
So you were there when I came back.
Yes.
So I left the band for like 8 months and left and came back, and Jeff was in the band and Pat was in the band. It was kind of a different band completely. And they were doing what I had hoped would happen. They were doing, non-Christian music, and it was mostly rock. It was kind of, rock influence, like rock ballad, like, Loverboy and, that kind of stuff. And they graciously let me back in the band. And so we started doing that stuff.
That was a
And then
mistake.
but then so then that was the beginning of like losing, but we kept the name, but we started moving into this record deal approach, and we're just writing love songs and pop songs. And then I don't know what got us. Do you guys remember what happened when we started going techno? I don't remember how that
was Dennis.
was. That Dennis? Dennis, yeah.
We got
our producer.
We sold everything, and I sold all my equipment and everything, and got the Juno 60, the Roland Juno 60, the poor man's polyphonic synthesizer. I used to
And I got one too.
Cool. Glenn Campbell was recording there, and his keyboard player had the $5,500 Roland Jupiter 8, and I would just drool at it, but we couldn't use that. We had to use the Juno, and so most of the tracks were just DMX, Oberheim DMX drum machine, and Juno 60. The 21st Century, then our producer Dennis played the bass on that one, and but otherwise it was, and Bobby played the bass on a song you didn't hear, Secret Information. That was it. And so and Mark and I mostly, we put overdubs over Dennis's stuff to give it
Now to
some life.
connect it to the movie, Dennis's girlfriend, best friend that she went to college with, was a guy named Dick Whitehouse, who was a head of Curb Records.
Wow.
And we got a record deal with Curb because of that connection. And we thought it was a legit record deal, but we were going to make records and be stars. They really only gave us a deal because they wanted us to be in this movie.
Mm.
I was not aware of that.
Switch.
I don't know if it, but yeah, so that was,
But even still, it was on paper, it was actually a pretty good break.
That was
Oh,
a
yeah.
good deal.
But I think everything
Well, they
kind of
gave
went
us a
south
huge
when
advance. They gave us a huge advance, which most of it went to our producer. That's it.
Yeah.
And he bought a new recording console for
so much so that I don't remember it.
yeah, me either.
Yeah, when all the
Anyway, the
Dennis-
bottom line is our record deal, even though it was a legit record deal, it was all predicated on this amazing movie that years later was going to get us on podcasts.
Took a long time to pay off.
And so, yeah, and so as you can see, it's a dream come true.
Yeah. So
Really
we-
years
I mean-
later, here we are.
Really know how to
It's-
play the long game.
How was it? I mean, because it is a great kick-ass musical, and it's in the vein of all those great cult musicals that we love in the 80s. I mean, most of our favorite cult musicals are from the 80s because there's something in the 80s that you can't duplicate or replicate these days. Uh-oh, Greg left.
Earnestness. Everyone was
Yeah.
just so into it. It was
Yeah,
like, let's
yeah.
go.
And so it
Yeah,
had to be,
agree.
I mean, you may have had, your qualms about, the bait and switch, and you might have had your qualms about, the babies and other things of that nature. but it had to be fun to be immersed in I mean, because you went from virtually just becoming an independent band to being in a movie with one of the biggest / most controversial stars of the 80s, Pia. So, I mean, how was it to be immersed in this musical world?
I actually thought when he said one of the biggest stars of the 80s, I thought you meant Mark Jackson.
I thought he meant Michael Berryman.
Yeah, actually,
Because we
yeah,
were told that when the movie wrapped that they were going to do a cartoon series based on us. So
I wanted to know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
There
it was
was stuff-
cartoons. I remember it was a show like the Monkeys, but maybe they said cartoons. But
That was
we were
cartoons.
supposed to be the Monkeys of the 80s.
Yes, that was the plan. And here's the story to that will give a foundation to that story. I get a call at my house one day back in Phoenix after the movie was wrapped, and we're waiting for all this stuff to happen. And I pick up the phone, and it's an agent from LA looking for Mark Jackson. And I was like, are you serious? The guy in the movie that had no dialogue has an agent calling him, looking for him? You've got to be kidding. So Mark Jackson gets a call from an agent. They had my number. They called, and I'm thinking, well, Mark just got discovered. Mark, it wasn't you. I know that probably ruined your whole. They were looking for wasn't it an African American Mark Jackson?
Yeah, they were looking for a black guy.
They just like,
they
are
thought
you
it was-
black? No, bye. Go do podcasts.
They were sweet, but it was funny. I was just like, I was so nervous. I was like, what? I was like, it can't be. It can't be. No, it's not true. They got our number from SAG or whatever,
To answer James' question, we are obviously in retrospect, and Greg's the fact that
He's
he
here.
can't stay connected, well, that's sort of a metaphor. No, at the time we were doing the film, trust me, we were 100% in. And I don't know, I can't speak for Greg Bond, but I would say Mark and Craig and I loved every friggin' second of doing that movie.
Right, yeah.
Every second of it was mind blowing.
Because it is very much the Monkeys, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's like we're like the monkeys with sticks up our asses.
Monkeys but aliens.
We were very, yeah, we were we were stiff, and it seemed to work. Seriously, that's just the way we were on screen, and so it worked that way because we were so
that way.
I was gonna say your bass player, he tested out. The screen bass player, they were like, nah, we don't want him.
That was a money thing too, because they would have had to spend more money. They only wanted to hire,
because they brought in Tom Nolan to be the leader, and then they
those.
cut Bobby out budget wise so that they could bring this real actor in to carry the thing, because we couldn't carry it, they felt.
But I will say that when we did that, we actually screen tests. So we came to Burbank and did our screen tests, and as I recall, we were all really nervous and terrible,
and bad.
But I think Bobby had been around in the rock world and in the musician world for a while, and he was kind of like that guy who's just like, whatever, I don't know, whatever, and he had kind of he really couldn't take it that seriously, and I think. And we were all in there, we're going to do well, we're going to do great. It's like, we're going to work hard at this and whatever. And I didn't think Bobby really took it that seriously. So I think that might have been part of it, is, he was kind of laughing his way through it, which, in retrospect, he got it right.
and Ruth Gordon's deputy, Peter Stelzer, in the film was our acting coach. He got hired to coach us to act. And we were just being smartasses and being who we are today. And I remember one day he just looked at it and says, you guys, you know how many actors you guys put out of work because you got these roles? Actors who are actually studying the craft, and you guys have the gall to just joke about this and not take it serious and not realize the opportunity you've been given. And he was right, actually.
How very daring for Voyage of the Rock.
Yeah, but the casting director, Barbara King, told me that they couldn't have found 5 better guys to play these roles. She said we were perfect.
Yeah, right.
But they could have found 5 better women, for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah, that's always the case, though.
I agree with you, Ashley.
That's
Yeah.
Am I back in yet?
Yeah,
Hey,
I
guys,
can
am
hear
I
you.
back in?
Can't see you.
Oh,
We
you
can
can't
hear
see
you.
me? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I switched
I can
over to
see
my
his name
phone.
again.
I can see you guys, but I can't. Yeah, okay. I
I have the
It's
am.
same
okay.
problem.
Yes, a
But
Luddite.
we're glad you're
Who-
here,
who-
though.
Who knows what a Luddite is? Because that is what. Yeah.
What?
It's great. Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
everybody.
There we
We
go.
definitely know now.
I have
Closing in on that. Yeah, because I just hit my. Okay, now what do I do here?
I'm sure we all have that parent. So you're
Uh-huh.
that we're like
Or
we're like, okay.
grandparent.
Or
Yep.
grandparent, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm singing with a bunch of people now that are young enough to be my grandchildren. So there's that. Yeah.
So,
He's talking
Greg,
about it, me and
He's
Mark.
young enough to be my grandchild. So yeah.
so Greg,
Yeah.
are you on mobile?
I'm on a mobile. Yeah.
Okay, so next to the mute button, there it says video, and if it has a line for the stop video, all you do is just mash that stop video, and it will pop on. Your video will pop on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We've
Well,
just
let's try
adopted
that.
James as our grandson.
Okay.
James is
I was
everybody's
gonna say,
He's
That's
everyone's
Taylor's boy.
grandson.
He's such
And
a
I'm
good boy.
lost.
about
And I'm lost. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, I put my glasses on. I did do that. Okay. And
Put in your
now,
hearing aids.
okay, yeah, it's all good.
Get my walker.
Okay, I don't know. I don't see a mute button or anything. I just see the camera icon.
Yeah,
That's
click
all I
on.
look-
Yeah, mash it.
Mash it means push it in
Push it.
don't
Yeah.
I was
The
gonna
best
say,
part
don't
of the
push
interview.
it, mash
Okay,
it.
but you know what? I think it's gonna do. What I think it's gonna do is
Oh.
is move the camera around to the. Yeah, it just puts it to the front view.
Got it.
But I got a
So-
great picture of myself. I look great in here, just in case you guys are wondering.
We saw you for a minute.
We
but
are
then
So-
we are
disappeared.
wondering. Yes.
So,
Describe yourself.
if you are doing horizontal or vertical, do it. Flip your phone horizontal, and that might be
Okay.
better.
I did. I see all you guys better. But you know what? You might just have to listen to me from time to time because
We
I'm
don't
trying
mind.
here and I can't figure it out. Yeah. So okay, but I missed a little bit there because
It's okay. We'll edit
I
this
just
out.
did.
Helena,
Okay.
Helena or Ashley or anyone else? I'm using iPhone. Is anyone else? Are you using Greg? Are you using iPhone or Android?
I'm using an Android.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does
I'm
anyone
using
have an
a
Android?
I'm
I got
using a
an
Google
Android. Let me
Pixel.
take a look. I'm
I've
on a
got-
Mac right now. I'm on
I've
my
got a Google Pixel. That's what I got.
Oh, Greg, have someone at the home help you. Have one of the
But this
aides
is
come into your
taking too
room.
long.
Have,
One of
have
the
someone
aides.
get you an iPhone.
Thank you for
not
getting
at
that,
all.
Okay.
Hades.
Yeah, I know. That's
So-
what should be.
Call your
I
nurse.
have an iPhone, but it's a 4S, so I don't know if that would have been much better.
A 4S. Yeah, that's from the 30s, right? That was called the Great Depression iPhone.
Yeah.
I remember.
All
that.
right.
The
So,
the flapper cell phone.
Yeah, the
But-
flapper cell phones. You could order alcohol delivered right to your senior home.
So
sorry, we'll try to
Okay.
figure it out. But
okay, well, it's okay.
this-
I'm here. I can see you guys. You all look great. I'm here. So
Thank you.
That's
I
good.
think we should just put a
Okay.
picture of Hades up because Hades is looking buff. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I agree.
I might need to
I
get your
agree.
number, Hades, if you're single.
I totally feel like a greaser, you know.
but so how did y'all feel? I mean, you talked
Oh, here we
about
go. I'm on. I think I got it. Okay. Yeah, when I went to Hades, then I had a whole row of options at the bottom, and one of them was start my video. So here we
You
go.
went to Hades.
There
You've
you
been there
go.
all your
I'm
fucking
in. I'm
life.
You
in.
did it.
I'm
Greg, can you turn off the iron
lung?
lung? It's making a lot of noise. Just turn off your iron lung so we don't hear that humming the whole.
But you're right. You do look great. The
Yes,
lighting.
best looking guy in the
The
band.
lighting
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's the T-shirt.
Smoldering.
Yep.
I get the shirt.
so being
That's-
immersed in this musical world. I mean, your music is great anyway, and it's really interesting. I guess that's trivia that not a lot of people know is that this musical was built around your music, which is actually really kick-ass when you think about it. I mean, your music is like to write music and then to have it already exist in the ether, and then for someone to write a movie around it has to feel like an amazing thing for you all to be this little niche band to have a movie musical built around your music.
Well, they kind of fit us in, is what happened. It's like, hey, listen to this, and then we go to the movie, do the movie, and our words are in the script. Like, wow. I wrote those words and they're in a real Hollywood movie script. We're really on our way to fame and fortune now. So we were kind of like fit in there, but it all worked out, I think. Somehow.
It's a wonderful fruit salad of weirdness.
It is.
Well, I mean, that is how they used to do musicals. Like Singing in the Rain is basically a jukebox musical. It's the same thing. Like all of the music already existed. They just horned it into the movie that way. So when you said that, I was like, that's and it tracks as to why the music like is it like it's so good. I was like, man, the music is the movie, but like the music is so good. And I was like, they don't really align. So
Ashley, are you a
kudos.
theater person? Are you a theater kid?
I don't know how you would be able to tell that.
Yeah, no. Like when you're talking about jukebox musicals and you're thinking, well, the music was great in this film, but the plot, have you seen the play Mamma Mia? No, not a lot of plot. So it's kind of this is a jukebox musical because there's no plot.
That's fair. That's
very
you're
fair.
not wrong.
Yeah.
But the way that each musical sequence is filmed, it is totally on the pulse of something MTV. Because every single, and what's so great about this musical, unlike other musical movies where they just break out into song, every musical sequence in this film is shot like it's an MTV music video, which I think this movie deserves recognition just for that alone, about every single musical sequence. But they might not fit with the plot, but it's okay because there might be a flimsy plot, but the music and the music videos are so great that you can just tell how enthusiastic everybody was about it. I mean, the beginning, of course, of the movie, you have the after shot Jermaine Jackson and Pia Zadora, but it's okay. It may be on a different planet in a different realm, but it captures the spirit. Helena?
But the multiverse of Pia Zadora is that Pia Zadora exists and Jermaine exist on this other planet as well as ours. So in the multiverse, there could be millions of them.
Yeah.
But the music's
tell
great.
James Fargo that because he was pissed.
Oh, what about
director.
sliding that music video in there?
That doesn't have anything to do with the movie. You want to start out with 21st century, but we got to put P and Jermaine in there.
I think they spent as much on that video as they did on the rest of the film, probably, just so that they could, they could put one of the Jacksons together with Pia. Because I mean, face it, this whole thing was, it was a vehicle for her. And so anything else was going to be trying to think how to say this, not secondary to her, but it couldn't overshadow anything that she was trying to do. And so as far as editing the thing, and as far as just day-to-day filming it, I mean, in the night, I don't know how much cocaine they were doing, but the next day they would have a new script. They would have a new script that was trying to knit these things together in such a way that would promote her. And I totally understand that because this was financed, because of her husband, and this was her deal. And we understood that. And she worked incredibly hard on this thing. I mean, she was ready for everything. She was ready to dance. She was ready to sing. She was ready to do, whatever to try to make this thing go. And then when they screen test it and it tests highest for the age group 4 to 7, that was a big blow. That was a big blow, I think.
Yeah.
Bright colors. Yeah. Singing and dancing. Yeah.
But it's so endearing.
Yeah.
But this movie does mean a lot to people. I mean, if you go into the comments on YouTube and our Instagram, every time this is sort of tagged or something on our blog or other blogs, people love this. It's escapism. It's fun. There's something really somber about this movie. It just feels like it's so innocent. There's innocent fun. Yeah, there's some scenes that are hilarious and a bit tawdry, but it's innocent fun and it's escapism, and it has lasted. I mean, people really do care about this musical. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up y'all's asses, but like, it's a huge deal to be able to talk to y'all, because I never thought in a million years that I would be on a call with Rhema. I mean, because this movie means a lot to me. And like, you put things into the ether and hopefully it happens. But like, it is a big deal for us to talk to y'all. Because I mean, I haven't seen y'all, be together in some sort of form in a while. I don't know, when's the last time y'all have actually interviewed all together?
I haven't
Oh.
seen.
Did we?
I haven't been
We
in the
did it
same
for
room with.
40
the
years ago.
Blu-ray,
40 years ago.
but not all
40 years ago,
together.
I think.
40 years ago.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't know because they.
Never.
I mean, they for Vinegar Syndrome, they sent people out to do interviews with each of us, and so we did that, but we still didn't see each other. I mean, I haven't been in the presence of these guys for 40 years, so that's crazy because I love them all so much. I mean, these guys are like my brothers, you know. So, but you know, life moves on. You go through all kinds of crazy things and everything. Just real briefly. It has a little bit to do with this, but I was adopted. I met my birth family when I was 50. Okay, my birth mother was in Germany. My birth dad was a GI that was stationed over there, U.S. GI. So, and I was adopted. But when I met my birth mother, so I go over there to meet the rest of my family. I've got 7 siblings. 2 of my sisters were somewhat familiar with this because When the Rain Begins to Fall, the song that opens the film, was a huge hit in Europe.
Huge,
and so
massive.
everyone knew it. Everyone knew it. And then she had another hit over there. It was called Let's Dance Tonight. That was directly from the film. We all sang on that. And so
Yeah,
this
we
was
played
just
on it.
absolutely nuts. This was just nuts for me to find this out. Although at that point in my life, my darkest fear was that someone would find out that I had been in a silly movie, you know, when I was a kid. So just this movie is like, whoa, you know, it's just, I mean, it's
Greg
so,
was the
I'm
only
glad,
one with that
that you
hang-up.
guys like it because, you know, like I said, I tried to avoid it for years, and now it's like, no, not at all. This is part of me, you know, coming up to be to where I am now, and it's not a bad place. So yeah.
People love it.
Yeah,
You get to say that you
I
were
fo-
in one of the worst movies of the 80s with Pia Zadora. I mean, that statement
Yeah.
alone
That's a
is
calling card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
just have to
nothing.
say Pia Zadora, and that's enough for some people, you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Santa Claus
despite
Conquers
all
the
of
Martians,
that,
like, even the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians in the Venn diagram, you meet right here, and that's a beautiful thing.
despite all of that, and despite all of whatever, you know, the logistics of Hollywood and, you know, everything, it's a beautiful film. I mean, because it was made with innocence and love. That's what I like to say. I know that's very We Are the World, since, you know, we're talking about A. Jackson. But I do believe this movie's great, and you guys are just, y'all shine in it. And I I would love for y'all to put me on the spot. But
Photo.
my favorite
You want Mark to do his lines from the movie.
A sequel?
Yes. Or
Oh.
like my
Yeah.
favorite song is We Have the World in the Palm of Our Hands. Do y'all remember any of the music? Like, if the lyrics ever
yeah.
come back to y'all?
Oh yeah,
We just
absolutely.
recut it, and Greg is
Yeah.
the voice, by the way. Greg just re-sang that version we sent you. We just did that a year ago, and Greg re-sang the whole
Oh.
vocal. He could sing
Yeah.
it right now, couldn't you, Greg?
Absolutely.
All right, do it, Greg.
I cut another video to that too, and using footage from the film.
I sent that to James.
Wait, where's my PayPal?
Oh, cool.
I'm getting my PayPal here.
All right, Greg. What are you gonna do? If Mark
y'all
had a
can't-
keyboard
Yeah.
hooked up, he could play. Well, you have a keyboard hooked up, Greg?
Yeah, I
Craig?
was just playing it.
We can't
Podcast
hear it. That
must
doesn't help
Don't
us.
look at me. I barely got my phone hooked up, so don't look at me.
Can you guys hear that, or
Yeah.
is I'm on
No.
No, we.
I'm afraid for the next few moments.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
I think everybody would have to probably mute except for the 2 people.
Yeah, let's all meet.
I'm
No,
muting.
my thing should go through there, but
I would
Don't.
think
you-
Oh, you're not doing that. No.
Greg, you might
Greg,
need
you
to.
sing that song, but
He's like, please
Yeah.
don't make me.
Don't put the poor guy on the spot. For
Greg,
Voyage of the Rock
you're
Aliens,
gonna
it's not
make
worth it.
James's world if you sing just a verse, Greg, or just the chorus. Forget Craig. Just sing it, Greg.
Look at his
Oh,
face.
really?
Do it.
Yeah.
Look at his little face.
We had the world in the palm of our hands, and we turned around and dropped it. We tore it apart, but we up and ran. We knew we couldn't stop it. Oh no. Where will we all be in the 21st century?
Yeah.
And I blew the words on it. I don't
Yeah,
know why.
whatever.
There
That
you
was
go.
awesome.
That's what you get. That's all you
made,
get.
made a little boy's day.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's my favorite song, and y'all are still. I would love just to see like a Rhema comic book, or like just something for Rhema to live in the consciousness, and for it to. I predict good things because I love this movie so much, and I love y'all so much.
Oh, thank you.
Well, Mark, at one
T-shirts.
point, Mark was working with the producer of this, and we were talking to him about redoing the film, and that only was during COVID. Never happened. But then Mark and I were working on getting the film released in the United States, and then Rhema showing up at the showings and doing Q&As and maybe doing a song. And we actually got invited to come to Arizona and do a Q&A for a showing at an art house. And the four of us were going to go, and at the last minute we didn't go.
Oh no.
So there's stuff like that's been talked about. Just
Helena.
That's kind of my thing. I have to talk to I feel like recently we did a string of cult musicals at the Hollywood Theater, which is like our big theater here in Portland. And that would have been awesome because we just had like John Mickle Thor from Black Rose, not Black Roses,
Rock and Roll Nightmare.
Rock and Roll Nightmare. So he just came through. I mean, we have all these different people coming through, and that would just be awesome to like kind of have you guys come out and do one of the numbers. And then we also have our resident drag clown, Carla Rossi, could come out and do Pia Zadora. And that
Oh yeah.
Is she
Yeah.
4'11" like Pia was? I doubt it.
I'm thinking like, if you guys remade this, you'd have to get like Mia Goth or somebody to play the Pia Zadora role, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be badass. Like Ty West could direct it. Just yeah.
I don't want to hog the time before we. I do want my co-host to ask any questions or give any anecdotes or shower y'all with flowers and praises before I talk. So, do y'all have any questions or comments or prayer requests?
Pray for Rhema.
The robot.
Oh, that's so sweet.
No, I've talked too much, so other people can talk.
No, you haven't. You're good.
Have you heard the latest version of 21st Century?
It's really good.
Yes,
It's
I sent
so
it to
good.
James.
Okay.
Do it.
It's so
Yeah.
good, and I will send it to my co-host. It was just very nostalgic because I never thought in a million years that it would happen again, and so it was sort of like it was just super, super, super surreal. And I'm gonna be pinching myself, but it was just great, and for y'all to be embracing this because a lot of the people that we talk to who are involved in cult musicals, we can attest. They're like, I don't see the appeal, but I love it because you all love it. Or they're like, I've come around to it. It takes 10 to 15 to 20, 25 years for us to come around. But it is a great thing to be involved in something that people love and they dress up as. I mean, one of the big things that we're all involved with is called shadow casting. You know, the Rocky Horror Picture Show and Shock Treatment. People dress up in front of the screen and they shadow cast and stuff. And I could easily see Rock Aliens sliding right into that because of because of the costumes. I do want to ask before I hands over to my co-host. Were you all in charge of that, of the garb that you all wore, like y'all's costumes? Was that something that y'all designed, or was that designed for y'all?
Oh yeah, I designed them actually. I'm kidding.
Yeah, you
So-
look like a clothing designer. Yeah, you've got
The
that
man-
classic
what was
clothing
his
designer
name?
look.
He was on the
I have a
Tony-
little
or Captain and Tennille show or Tony Tennille show or whatever. it was.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Oh.
Of course.
oh.
And he hated that woman. He hated Tony Tennille. He had nothing good to say
I have a-
about her.
Oh wow.
I have something to say about the costumes from my perspective because I was never quite sure why they cast me because I had no lines and I kept going, what am I supposed to do? And so Peter, our acting coach, I think a lot of what he said kind of sunk in, and that was, try to make something out of whatever you're doing. So if you don't have lines, then what are you going to do with it? and I was given no direction on to be the silent, lanky, nerdy guy. I just did that. I did that because I just wanted to have something. And the cool thing is that the costume people were so on board with doing it. I had them mess up the name tag, and my name was AEIOU, which is AU, it's like kind of off in his own world or whatever. So I had him like wrinkle it, and you can see me there like kind of slouching and kind of looking lost. And then I asked them for different glasses, so they gave me the round glasses, and then I got the point. So then I just turned it into something, and which was great. I'm so glad that they just kind of let me do it. Otherwise, I just don't know how I would even be reading on screen to be. Why was I even there? But turned out, and then I think over the time of shooting, I think they saw, I think in the dailies that I was doing something, and then they gave me a line to say at the end of the movie. And what I do is, if you watch at the end of the movie, you'll see me standing, not facing the camera, away from the camera. What you don't see is that I'm wearing earrings and a collar, some leather stuff from the gang from the Earth Gang, from the band. And I turned around, and into the camera, I said gnarly into the camera.
Yes.
And we did that.
And they cut it. It would have been a great ending.
We did it like 5 times, and people laughed on set. So obviously I felt pretty good about that. But then of course, when the movie came out, I was like, what is this? Like, not only was that not there, but I think when we saw the movie, it was such a different movie than we thought we shot. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like it was I didn't know what was going on. And I think when we actually got to see the movie, we were like scared. Like Greg said, he had a little trepidation about people knowing he was in this movie, because it was so odd. It was so strange, and we just didn't expect it to look the way it looked. It was kind of absurd, but that just kind of ties into a little bit of the interaction that we got to do for our characters.
You all carry the movie. Y'all do. You would never know that you all, I mean, unless you did deep dive research, you would never know you all weren't actors, and that because you guys have such great screen presence, and you guys have that whole Three Stooges sort of mentality. I mean,
well, we got the Stooges part down.
Pat was a Three Stooges guy.
Yeah,
I had plenty of theater training in high school and college before I got to the Southern Baptist College, but I've given all that up for Jesus. No, I hadn't. I just wasn't doing theater anymore. But I thought Peter was a great coach. He got the best out of us.
Well, when I found out that my big scene was that I was going to be collecting what just fell out of the back end of a cow, that was my featured scene. And so
you're lucky. They took out my featured scene because it was too dangerous, and they didn't want to rent an ATV. They didn't have room in the budget or something. I was supposed to fly over something with an ATV, which they of course wouldn't have let me do, but I would have done it.
Well, there was
was
one legitimate actress, legendary Ruth Gordon. She did the film because James Fargo asked her to.
I was wondering.
That's why she did it. He said, would you come do this film? I think it was the last film she ever did. And Mark and I have the distinction. We could have gone down in history as the Three Stooges duo that maimed her and put her in the hospital at her old age.
I thought it was Pat that almost knocked that thing over.
No, we were shooting.
No, it was when Jeff and I went into the phone booth, and we
were
almost
doing
knocked it over.
Man, and the scene was we're crouched behind the cop car, and then when she turns her back and goes behind the phone booth, Mark and I go in and disappear. Well, we're 6'4" together. We're 8'7". We hit that phone booth, and it tipped, and it was going on Ruth standing behind it, and thank God people on the set saw it and grabbed it, but it would have gone right over on her, which might have helped our career.
And I heard about the chainsaw accident that almost happened too. Like when Michael Berryman noticed that the chainsaw blade was on backwards and it was gonna fly off and kill some guy.
That was Pat.
Yeah, he talks about that in the special features. He explains that. It's pretty.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. So
he told Pat not to do it, I think.
Yeah, Berryman said, don't let them make you do this scene.
How is it working with him? He seems like a really down to earth guy. I mean, for the way he
Sweetheart.
looks, he just seems like
He's
such
great.
a cool guy.
Oh,
He was
sweetheart.
really kind to us. He was really sweet. We had a meal with him and stuff, and he was just the coolest guy. Really
He
like
had, the
Actually,
best,
everybody
he had
that-
the best stories too. He had the
Oh,
best.
yeah. Actually, everybody
Yeah.
who went on to have a career in because you mentioned there was a Friends boss was there, someone from the Friends boss, and Craig Sheffer, who the crew would mock him
Ah,
because he'd be getting ready to do a scene, and he'd be off in the woods, hitting himself on the back with branches, getting into character.
Flogging
He's gonna-
himself?
he would be flogging himself. I remember Eddie
he's
Gold.
method.
Yeah, he was a method
Serious
actor. So
method.
and everyone was laughing at him on the crew because it's like, what does this guy think he's shooting? But yeah,
They
he
almost
proved-
fired him. They wanted to, but
Oh yeah,
couldn't
they did
do
not.
that
He was
either.
not. He was not well
If-
liked.
If you notice
Brad Pitt liked him.
Yeah, that's
Huh?
right.
oh
He
the
was a great
at the
guy, too.
opening scene when Craig's character first comes out and he's really intense. I don't know if you noticed
What the
that
hell?
how
is going
intense he
on?
was.
That's what he'd been hitting.
He was-
That's the scene.
That was the scene, and that was his first. I think that was the first thing he shot,
It was.
and it was really, really intense. Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny
But-
because he
Well,
goes on to
yeah,
be
but
in
he
that
wasn't that
movie.
threatening because he was too tense. If you want to
Right.
be threatening, you're
Yeah.
not tense, you're calm.
Well, and then he goes on to be in like one of the most popular, like amazing horror movies of the 90s, which was Nightbreed.
That's right.
Right.
yeah,
Was
Gross,
he?
like,
Yeah.
scary. I mean, so it's like perfect for him. So he went from this to that, which I mean, talk about a career. That's crazy.
Yeah,
but
was
he
in
did a
American
River
Horror
Runs
Story,
Through
too.
It.
Yes.
Robert
With-
Redford's masterpiece, and he was
All
amazing
over the
in that.
place.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, it was-
sad because on all the promo stuff for that, his name isn't even mentioned, let alone is his picture on any of it. I don't know if you guys have seen any of that, but that's pretty crazy. On any of the recent stuff.
Mhm.
He did a
Before
great
I
job.
ask-
Anthony Hopkins and Brad Pitt. That's it.
It was right when Brad Pitt had just really hit, and I think Craig Sheffer was probably just a little bit older, and they were like, "Nah, put the cute one on there."
Yeah. Yeah.
Before
Well,
I ask
also
question,
Brett-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say Brad Pitt looks like Robert Redford, and Robert Redford directed the movie. So I feel like there was a real like push for him because that's kind of, I always felt like, oh well, he looks like the director. It's like,
Here,
Go ahead, what were you saying?
self worship. Before I ask questions, I just wanted to ask Ashley, Hades, and Mary and Helena if they have any questions or any thing that they'd like to say to y'all before I ask y'all something.
I think good.
I've gotten more than I ever expected to, so I'm thrilled. It's all you, James.
No, it's okay. I know Mary always wants to know about bloopers on the set. That is their thing. Was there anything that shouldn't have happened that happened?
Everything.
Yeah. Mark almost knocked out Pia Zadora's understudy.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
Lorraine. I don't know her last
You know,
name. She was
when we're doing
18. Yeah,
you
go
know,
ahead.
when we were doing the Battle of the Bands in the Cotillion, and we were up on stage with all the smoke and everything, and you see me kicking my leg over the keyboard like that, and I did that like 50 times or something, and we were rehearsing it, and they kept stopping the shooting because the smoke was so intense nobody could see anything. And so while the smoke was still there, I was just sort of in my space, and I was just like doing the flip. And I didn't see this girl, and my hand just came around and got her clocked her right in the eye, knocked her over. And oh my God, I felt terrible.
That's a bit of a blooper.
Maybe it was a Freudian slip.
Yeah, it's a good thing it
I had
wasn't. Yeah, you might not be
Pushed
here
into
interviewing with us today.
Yeah.
So when
I had
go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
I had
go
a
ahead.
couple of, like, when we were I think the first week of shooting about maybe 6 months before I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and for some reason, of course, probably stress, I got infected and it started to swell up, and I had to get an emergency ride to the dentist so that they could drain it and get it so that it wouldn't be puffing and stuff. And what was weird, I was like, oh, my career's over. I'm going home. They're going to send me home. Like, because I hadn't really shot enough to really merit, you know what I mean? It's just like, you know how you are when you're neurotic and you've never experienced anything. Weirdly, for some reason, the shooting schedule got changed and I had like 2 more days of nothing. So we didn't shoot anything for 2 days and I got a chance to mostly heal up. But if you look at the bridge scene when we're on the bridge, before the couples over there, you know, who are parked, you can look and you can see a little little thing right there. But yeah. And then another time in the spaceship where we come down the slide, I went down there. They said, oh, you should probably just check it out before we shoot and stuff. So I did it and I knocked myself in the eye and I got like a bloody eye. So I did that. But then I had to wear, I was wearing sunglasses. So, it was fine. But it was just like, I don't know, man. I'm lucky to have gotten through it because of stupidity and stuff. But
so this movie sort of came and went, but I mean, it does have a legacy. And how does it feel for y'all at this particular moment? And, since when did you discover that there was this underground cult that was obviously devoted to it and had not only interest in Voyage of the Rock Aliens, but interest in you all?
Minnie Vanelli, 2005, contacted Mark and I for an interview.
You said Millie Vanilli?
Well, no, what was his name? What's his name? The guy that.
Oh, Rob Pilatus. Rob Pilatus or Fab Morvan. Fab Morvan.
Oh, really?
The one that's still living.
No, there's a French guy. What's his name? Minnie something.
Craig, I don't think it has anything to do with Millie Vanilli, though.
No, not Millie Vanilli. What's his name? The guy that puts our stuff up. Minnie something.
I don't know, Craig, but it wasn't Millie Vanilli.
Vinny Rotoli. It's Vinny Rotoli. Vinny Rotoli.
Is that him?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Okay.
He contacted you and I, Mark, to do that.
He contacted you. Craig was putting up sites with stuff on it. Like Craig was probably the guy that made it even like any reaches because couldn't let it go. Exactly. And so it was online and he's a French guy and it was for a French publication and that's how it kind of started. That's when we started to realize that, gosh, people have seen this movie. It's crazy. So thanks to the internet. If we didn't have the internet, obviously we wouldn't be talking now. But I'm just saying, the thing wouldn't have. It would have just been obscure. Like nobody would have known. And about this movie.
Really quick, but it's weird and it's not important, but it's weird. Years later, when I finally had adjusted to the fact I had actually been in this, I went online on Google and started looking up everything. And I found a site from France where there were certain French fraternities that for a pledge thing, they would have people sit through this. They had drinking games associated with this film. And this particular group,
appropriate.
There were on this particular fan group, there were some 30,000 people. And I could not even believe. I was like, what? No, they've all seen me in this? No. I was absolutely
leave it to Greg.
Greg
goes to the negative.
No, I was absolutely floored that this had enough presence. But it actually was released in France. It was released in France, Germany, Holland, I think Switzerland. I don't know, a few countries. It actually had been released, and it was famous for being like a midnight movie, one of those horrible movies that people sit through, and But then people developed a fondness for it,
like Ashley.
And there were these drinking. They actually associated drinking games with this, and it was part of a pledge ceremony for some of these frats. I mean, you're kidding? My gosh. Okay, that's all I got.
Europeans always embrace shit,
Jerry Lewis. I mean, you guys.
Jerry Lewis.
There you go. The Hoff. I mean, Hasselhoff. Didn't Hasselhoff cover one of the songs from this?
Yeah, in Germany. He had a hit in Germany.
Nice.
But I like it. Does everybody here know who the Grateful Dead is?
Of course.
Could you imagine listening to a Grateful Dead concert if you weren't shooting up LSD? So I think that's why the drinking games are so big with this movie. It's I think there's a correlation.
Probably every time you saw Pat go, Um,
I
But-
gotta tell you about. I gotta tell you about the
wait,
Frank
real-
Zappa.
oh, wait.
encounter
Before
with Frank
stay,
Zappa.
hold on, stay 1 second, because I know that's not the movie that's recording, and I wanted to just say one quick thing. You guys know the movie, the show, the podcast. How did this get made?
Yeah, James
Mhm.
does.
With Paul Scheer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah.
Oh, very
Um,
nice.
they did it, and they said it was one of the favorite movies they've ever reviewed and lampooned. I felt that was a real honor. The interesting thing about that is that I know Paul Scheer and he knows me, but he doesn't know to this day that I was in that movie.
Oh my God.
And we intend to keep it that way,
Yeah,
right?
keeping it that way.
Well, yeah, he'll be really surprised if he pursues it any further. But that was a cool thing. And then I really want MST 3000 to lampoon the movie. And
Oh.
That'd be perfect.
and I just did music for a podcast, just coincidentally, for Felicia Day, who's one of the two with Patton Oswalt. She and Patton are on the show, and I'm not hitting her up because I don't want to push it, but I feel like what I did the other day was I took the title credits and I used Photoshop, and then I put the 3 characters and I put it in the theater, and I've been posting it in some of the MST 3000 groups. So man,
We'll push it for you.
for me, that would be the
Yeah,
ultimate.
yeah.
Like,
I can't
I'll
believe
send it your way.
Riff Tracks hasn't
Okay.
done it. I mean, Riff Tracks does everything. I'm surprised. I'm really shocked they haven't done it unless like Pia's people are still out there like holding it back. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think Pia
don't think
does a
so
cabaret
either.
show in Vegas. She's married to an ex-cop.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
married
I
to, like,
don't
a
even think
sheriff
she has it.
deputy. Yeah.
I think Pia would embrace this, but I'm sure she gets hit up to talk about it. She doesn't seem to do any press for it, but I don't think she's resisting the Renaissance, because when we were having conversations with the
Mhm.
producer a few years ago, it's all that was gone. It was like let's do a new version of it, and yeah.
Mia Goth, I'm
Craig,
telling
what were you going to say, Craig?
The Frank Zappa angle on this. So this is in 1984 sometime. Frank was on the road, and he'd been working with Alan Zavad, who was a friend of the band. And Alan Zavad's a keyboard player, screenplay and score writer kind of. And so I walked into the control room in Studio A, and this guy walks up to me, who I recognize, of course, Frank Zappa. And it's, "Hey, Craig, how are things going with the techno pop schlock rock aliens?"
No, I believe what
And,
Frank Zappa said was
but
there's
I'll
a
tell
factory
you
in Las
what.
Vegas that prints you guys out. Bands like you, he prints you guys out like a manufacturing warehouse. That's exactly what he said to us.
Is that what he said? After
Yes, he
that?
said
High praise.
yeah, he basically put us down.
Oh,
Aw.
he's said worse things about Bruce Springsteen. Like he plays like a guy who's worked really hard on the guitar for a year. You know,
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Equal
High
opportunity.
praise indeed.
I love Frank. He's pretty cool.
So I asked
Mhm.
this to y'all this is an important question. Now that we're sitting here talking, which again, I can't thank y'all enough, because I never thought in a million years I would be able to talk to y'all and meet y'all. It really does mean more than you'll ever know. But what do y'all hope the legacy? It is having a new sort of resurrection and revival. But what do you hope for the Rock Aliens? This movie, not only this movie, but for Rhema, what do you hope the legacy of this will be?
Like Greg Bond
Legacy.
would jump all over that.
Well, okay, I'll jump. I think just the song 21st Century, it's to me it's almost prescient of what's going on. I wish people could realize that this was something that's been going on for, a very, very long time. That basically is it. If someone would listen down to the lyrics, we had the world in the palm of our hands. We turned around and dropped it. They tore it apart, but we up and ran. To me, that is what's left of I mean, that's what I carry with me from this.
Totally.
Yeah,
we like
and
to-
we changed the lyric. The new version changed the lyrics a little bit too, so
Yeah,
where
what were the new
it's kind
lyrics?
of like, yeah, they're a little bit more. We didn't change a lot, just a few things, just to make it kind of more salient
And
currently.
we slowed it down because before it had, the tempo of an upbeat polka, like Pennsylvania polka is like doom 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 156, slowed it down to 140, doom doom doo doo, because, and you mentioned this on that last podcast you had about this movie, that they were real slappers. You said everything was going fast in this movie. It's probably because, people were, not us, but people were jacked up on coke when they wrote this stuff. But just like the script. But yeah.
Welcome to the 80s.
It was
Welcome to
it
the
was
80s.
and Greg has a friend who's in her 70s, Carolyn, that skis. And she likes the old version way better than the new version, which is way more sophisticated, the new version, it's a better sound and everything and mixing and all that.
She's got it on her playlist for skiing.
Yeah, and that's
The
why
old version?
The
it
old
makes you
version,
want to
yeah.
exercise. Didn't he say on that last podcast it makes you want to go out jogging or running? Put the earbuds in and go out running. Everything in that movie was way too fast. A lot of it, I think.
I had the
But
sound
us talk-
today. It slaps. It's great.
But people like that. They like to jog to it and run to it. And, musicians like it a little bit slower and groove so you can dance to it. But
Well, it's very
all-
Devo, like It's a Beautiful World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dire song. I mean, that's it's part of the irony.
And I wonder, and this is a question that you all can answer, but with talking about it here and talking about it elsewhere and communicating via email and recording a new version of 21st Century, has it reignited creativity and passion for Rhema again?
We still work together, do
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
We've
We
got a
started
song
to work
Singapore
again
come
together.
lately. It's got 56
Yeah.
tracks that Mark's supposed to be working on, and Jeff.
Wow.
And Greg and I have finished our part. So yeah, we do a lot of, we do stuff. We go back and
But-
forth.
But the cool thing is that Greg's living in Colorado and Craig's in Arizona, and I think Greg, when we brought back 21st Century, Greg went and bought a mic and he got a little rig going at home, and now he's recording there, and so it's like he's back in the game, with us, and so it's really exciting. It's exciting to. I love that we can keep creating. It's the best. It's
I
just,
think when you asked the question about with legacy, I love Greg's answer, because what's lost in all
I
of
do too.
this, all of this, that what is not known in all of this was that the four of us actually are artists, and we are songwriters, and we're serious about it.
Mhm.
Yes, the Rhema, the way it was portrayed in the movie was fun, but when we had our kind breakup, which happened, and I don't even know why, I can't even remember now why, Mark and I actually moved to LA together. We still are in LA. Some 40 years later, we moved to LA to be an artist together. So we actually got offered a deal on Warner Brothers as a duo, so Mark and I continued. Greg went off and was working and singing and doing vocals. Craig traveled the world doing the dueling piano thing. We're all serious musicians. We weren't just flukes. Our producer Dennis dumbed us down, but we are artists who are committed to the art of music, and we'll do music until we stop breathing. And so the fact that we've reconnected and we are still collaborating, Mark and I have been collaborating for years once we got back together after
Mark and I did too over the years.
Yeah, so we've all sort of,
know.
except Greg was not in the midst, but the minute we all reconnected, we immediately started working on stuff together. So the truth is, we're not rock aliens, we're rock artists.
Right.
rock on.
That's on my t-shirt.
That's what I loved. I mean, it was like 40 years I hadn't talked to these guys, and everyone is still doing it. We're all still doing it. I mean, I did some community theater and that kind of stuff. I still did a lot of songwriter demos and backup singing and all that through the years, but no, they didn't know that. I didn't know what they were doing. And then we get back together and we're still us, we're just like us, only it's like fine wine, I guess,
And Ashley, Mark Jackson and I have been working on a musical for 3 years. I drug Mark into the genre. It's not his favorite, but
great.
We've been working on, we've been composing a musical, and then I needed help with it. So I went to Greg and I said, Greg, would you voice one of the characters? He's like, send it over. So every couple of weeks he gets, okay, do this now. He goes in his little room and does it. So yeah, we're serious.
Well, all four of us are on there.
Oh yeah, I'm.
Let's
I'm
go.
Yeah, it's
It's
a lot
going
of fun.
to be good. It's Jeff's done an amazing job. It's like it's really going to be really good. Like
It's a mythological retelling of COVID.
Oh,
Look, it actually goes. That'll work. That'll work.
That is brilliant.
Based on the season of Sagittarius.
All right.
Is there any
I'm
more
writing my
hints?
second
Because
novel.
Yeah, and I needed a crazy pastor, so I sent it to Craig, and he came back with a crazy pastor character. He voiced all those for me and changed all the melodies. I'm like, you're not getting any writer's royalties for this. He's a savant. He couldn't sing what I sent him. He had to just do his own melody. That's great. And it actually was better.
And it's great that, you're writing books, Craig, and you are writing music, and we're here talking about, rock aliens, but it's opening up our minds and opening up doors to the other things that you all are doing and have done. And it's like, sometimes it takes these little weird niche cult musicals to reel people in. And then once they're in, they discover other things, because it doesn't usually stop with just one cult musical. They usually want to know more about it. And so it's great that we're here talking to you about this wonderful musical, but we're being, educated on the other things that you were doing, and a new musical and books and writing and piano and everything. And it's just, it's great that you've embraced it, and you're instead of allowing it to just die out, you're embracing it and you're taking it with you as you do more artistic endeavors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
It was a fun
Yeah.
9 weeks, and it's going to last our whole lives.
In Stone Mountain, Georgia, right down the road from where I'm
Oh
from.
yeah, that
In 21st Century, that's where we were doing. That's where we were on the ride going around and around. That was
Six Flags Park. Six Flags.
Yeah, we were at Six
Flags.
Flags.
Do y'all
Now
have
there's
any
there's
favorite?
a little story. Tom
Uh-oh.
Nolan couldn't even take walking in the funhouse, much less going on those rides with us,
Oh my gosh.
because something with he would get sick,
Yeah.
make him nauseated. And when he started walking on the slanted floor, he said, "I got to get out of here." So yeah,
Well, I remember that crazy, supposed to defy gravity. Yeah.
yeah. And Mark and I were doing a scene down in this. They had this canal where they would float boats underground, and they had it's some of that's in the movie. It was done at Six Flags, and they're shooting Mark and I sitting there fooling with the handheld keyboard or something, and they go, "Cut." And we didn't even do it, so it was like, all right, this is professional entertainment. I forgot.
Wasn't that like the first thing we shot? Was the music? Wasn't that like the first thing? And it was freezing cold. I think it was like the first thing we shot.
Well, it looks freezing cold in the movie. It's like, because I can tell, because I'm from Oregon, and it looks a lot like that. And I'm like, I bet you they are cold.
Oh, it would get
The bridge
cold
scene.
October and November
Oh yeah.
Oh
in
wow!
Georgia.
That bridge scene was brutal. We were freezing on that thing. It
Not
was
a good
so
time either
cold.
to do like a beach party movie. A movie that has a beach party scene. Maybe don't shoot that in October. I don't know. I'm just saying.
It was okay during the day. It was probably in the 60s. At night, it would get really cold, and that's
Yeah.
when we did the bridge scene, obviously.
I'll ask this of my co-host before we conclude. Do y'all have any tidbits or any favorite things that you saw them do in the movie, or anything that you want to say about Rhema and our special guest, but also this just fabulous campy movie before we conclude.
Pitch punk forever. That's what I have to say. This is my favorite genre of 80s film, is this like retro, kitschy, punky, new wavy nonsense. And I absolutely love it. And I was kind of gobsmacked watching Pia do one of her last numbers where she's in the gym and she does this number, and I forget what song it is, but it is literally like she's singing karaoke. And I was like, it's doing karaoke.
You mean the one where she has her hand in her pocket the whole time? I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
What's
no, yeah,
very
I remember that.
Is
Yeah.
that Let's Dance
Well,
Tonight?
you couldn't shoot any coverage for that? Because goddamn.
No, they ran out of money.
She got her hands in her pockets. She's doing this hip move thing, kind of. I can't describe it because I don't dance. So
It's Let's Dance, I think. Isn't it?
Let's dance tonight.
Keep on moving it up. And she was out of pitch on that note, by the way.
Oh yeah, she was. She definitely was.
Could you hear that, Helena?
Yeah, it was ouchy.
Moving it up. You're a little under.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also the whole thing where you guys are like doing the dueling song, where you're both singing the same song. I was like ripping off Xanadu. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, completely.
Xanadu did this better with the counterpoint. You know.
Yes. Yes.
They didn't give us a lot of direction. I mean, it's like that's the scene where Marky almost kicked that,
Right.
and
He is a prison expert.
we didn't. I mean, we were just like trying to make it up on the spot, what we were going to do. But I do, just when you said that, I remembered, what am I going to do? I'm got to try to bring this song, and I just remember Annie Lennox, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. That kind of that. I don't know. It's not S&M, but you know what I mean. That kind of hard thing. I thought, I know, I'll do that. I'll just transform. All of a sudden, yeah, these aliens. We seem like we're all sweet, but yeah, we're gonna take this whole thing over. Like you didn't see it before now, but here it is. So I do remember that.
But like adorably, yeah.
And Hades and
you.
Renee.
I love like I said before, I love the set, but the robot in particular, the big round boy, killed me. Like, how fun was it working with that thing?
What was his name? 13? Was it 1359? Was his name?
15359. 15359.
Yes.
135.
Except when he was a fire hydrant too.
He turned into a hydrant and then he peed
Oh,
on
yeah.
the
On the dog. Yeah.
He's on the dog.
Allison LaPlaca and I went out dancing with that fire hydrant one night in the club at the Marriott. We actually had it on the dance stage or whatever it was, dancing with the fire hydrant. It was great.
That's awesome.
And actually,
I didn't know that.
And the voice of that was I think his name is Peter Cullen. That's Transformers. That's
right. Yeah.
That's the
same voice.
2359.
I was gonna say the Battle of the Bands Cotillion too. First of all, calling it a cotillion just cracked me up. But
I've never even heard that word before.
It's definitely like a Southern belle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's my cotillion. Like, think of like
Yeah.
Chaparral. And then it's like, nope, we're gonna dress rockabilly and do this whole Stray Cats thing. But no, that's my favorite. You guys just like battling in the gym at the cotillion.
When we would, after a day of shooting, we'd come back to the Marriott and Gil Taylor would be out there. His son was there too, because I think he was first AD or something. But Gil Taylor would be sitting there and he'd have Heineken beers and we'd just kind of sit and hang out with him. And he was just, I remember him going on about how the Battle of the Bands it'll never work. It's like he was lamenting about how, how he told them, everybody, I don't think it's going to work and all that stuff, but he made it work.
So
then he go on about how he hated the Beatles because he was the cinematographer for Hard Day's Night.
Or Hard Day's Night.
Oh, wow.
And he go on about how they were reading their lines off the back of their guitars. Watch the movie. The movie is like the 72nd or 82nd, whatever, most popular or highest critiqued movie in the history of movies. It's in the top 100. But Gil Taylor, he hated the Beatles and he blah, 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 blah.
He was kind of a curmudgeon, but he was cool.
Yeah, he was
I
fun
will
to listen
ask.
to this
I will
time.
ask you for this. Besides your fabulous, because Rhema has the best songs in the film. By far, you have the most original
me about
songs. But besides
Thank
those four
you.
songs, I've always wanted to know. Besides those four songs, the non-Rhema songs, what are y'all's favorite songs from from Voyage of the Rock Aliens? If you had to choose one that's not your own,
Are we going the European soundtrack, or what was actually in
right?
the
Which
film?
is different than the American
Yeah.
soundtrack. What
And our
pisses
songs
me
are
off?
cut except for 21st Century.
Yeah,
No, that was cut from the soundtrack.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's in the movie, but not in the soundtrack. Right.
Boy, that's a tough question. You got
Was
Greg.
it
What do you think?
Mark Spiro had a couple of songs on that, didn't he? He was
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
curve artist.
Back on the streets.
Honestly, I can't even remember them now. My favorite song, it's only if you watch the video with it, and it's got to be Craig Sheffer with Nature of the Beast, because I swear that cat looks like it has had, I don't know how many litters of kittens in its life hanging. It looks like it's the oldest, most feeble looking cat that size that I've ever seen in my life, and it's just hilarious. That whole video is hilarious. I mean, seriously, that's my favorite, just for all that, because it's hilarious to watch, and he's lip syncing, and it's not great. So there's that.
No, he did not do a good job of lip syncing.
I guess
Jeff,
when
I would
the
say
rain
that-
starts to fall.
I like that song. Okay. I thought that was a pretty decent song for an 80s, ballad.
It's
I
very
like the opening
graceful.
theme because
The
we were
song
signed with
it's
that
just
band.
the whole video is with the video and the whole presentation,
Yeah.
and him doing his flexing stuff, and that cat looking like, oh my god, I wish they hadn't pulled my teeth this morning.
Very cats inspired.
And then Jeff, Mark, and Craig, what's y'all's favorite non-Rhema songs in the film?
Well, and the rain begins to fall will be mine.
Ah,
I'd
That's
probably go
right.
with
That's something
Yeah.
that I often
That's a
listen
great
to
song.
except when I watch the movie. But
Yeah.
as far as a quality song, it's
Yeah.
pretty quality, and the production is kind of catchy. It was a big hit, like we
Mhm.
talked about in Europe.
massive hit.
It was
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge.
Massive.
Worldwide.
What was the one in the Battle of the Bands? Not Get Out and Dance. Let's Dance
Let's
Tonight.
dance tonight.
That was fun. We actually did the music, our part of the music to that. I remember going to some studio out in the woods and near Atlanta.
Yeah, we did that in Atlanta. We recorded that version of it for the movie in Atlanta. We didn't write the song, but it was just a Rhema version of it, and so did the Mustangs. They did the same thing.
But
Well, Atlanta
Dennis,
would
our
be
producer, was not involved. We produced it.
well, Atlanta
Yeah,
would be the
that was-
best place for y'all to screen this because Atlanta has like the Plaza Theater and they do cult musicals. So it would be really full circle if y'all could come back to Atlanta and
Oh yeah.
sort of screen
You're
it.
the only one that lives there. Talk to them.
I do. I'm mouth of the South. My
I sure
family
do.
calls me.
Yeah.
My family calls me the mouth of the South.
Oh, I think
But,
you could make anything happen if you chose to, if you could put your mind to it.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
tell you.
totally
you
agree.
have the
I don't
South
know
in your
special
mail.
poems.
I will
James-
try. I will try. I will contact. There is actually, yes, because there is a LGBT magazine that always screens Grease 2, Best Little Whorehouse, Earth Girls Are Easy under the label Wussy Magazine. And so they love this. And so it could really, and they have like costume contests before the Grease 2. So people come dressed as Stephanie Zanoni and things. I could totally see. I'll leave it in my hands. We'll see. But I will say I was looking at the soundtrack for the European. I'll digress on this. And I was looking at the American soundtrack, and it really pissed me off that some of y'all's songs were left off the American soundtrack. But you can get like a German version of the
Right, that's
soundtrack
got
with
them
your.
all.
And then there's like songs by this really obscure band called Three Speed, which did the music for
Right.
Once Bitten, which is one of my favorite movies.
Wow.
Oh wow. Cool.
Ashley, you know the song, like you've seen Once Bitten, Ashley?
Of course I've seen, yes. Absolutely.
You
Jim
insulted her.
Carrey is one of his first starring roles. Come on.
So they did some the band that did like Once Bitten, that song. They did songs on this
The
movie
song
too.
gets stuck in my head like on a random Tuesday. Nice.
I would love y'all to do something in terms of like a book or a retrospective or something, because you have lots of stories, and it'd be really awesome to have like set, Rhema in this world of the 80s with sex, drugs, and rock and roll and Pia Zadora and movies in Hollywood. I mean, we're fascinated just by the stories that you're telling us. And I think with you all set in this world, coming from the background that you have, I mean, it would make a great sort of campy comedy, like a black comedy of this. Started off as a Christian band, become, a musical written around you with songs, and then Michael Jackson and Madonna and Hollywood and Pia Zadora. I mean, it's something that we don't ever have. We're not close to that world. So to hear your stories, they're fascinating.
And we could call it How We Lost Our Religion.
Ooh.
Losing our religion is better.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
losing our religion.
You might not be able to get rights to that one.
No. Well, no, you can't copyright the title.
But first, please write your musical about COVID. That's important.
Oh, it's
It's
And then-
a great musical. It's awesome. It's unbelievable.
stoked. You'll have to send James the link so we can all gush over it once it's finished.
Should the actors who come through that are going to be voicing it, and I do get it voiced with actors voicing every character, I'll send a link definitely for James to share with you.
And if you like,
If nothing, at least the first act.
If you like Slipstream Fantasy, which is a combination of sci-fi, horror, I've got history in there, a little bit of my own genealogy. I write about my distant ancestors. You'll love my book. It's one.
What is it?
It's only 1,000 pages.
No, that's the first one. Is 570 pages manuscript.
What's the title?
Well, the new one's called The Holy Books of Saint Erbastus the Magus. He was the brother of King Harold Bluetooth, where we get the name Bluetooth. The first Christian Harold Bluetooth was the first Christian king of Denmark, but his brother in my book is a pagan. And he goes through all these different dimensions finally. In the end, he goes to Xenoxdum, which is a moon somewhere out there that exists in several different dimensions. It's just crazy. And they fly around in this, and they actually, it's like a space movie, just a lot like Voyage of the Rock Aliens, I'm sure.
Craig is pretty gifted, but he's in another dimension.
The space,
Voyage of the Rock Aliens unanswered forever.
Yeah, it's what it is.
The spaceship is a living being who's been evolving for the last 13.8 billion years, was the first creation of the Milky Way. It just goes on. And of course, she's crazy. She's a goddess, but she's evolved, see? And everything, it's got to be kind of like based on science in my book, but it's fantasy too. Lots of fairies and vampires and dragons and all kinds of good stuff.
All right, Mark, that sounds good. Send us the link, drop the link in the chat if you can drop the name of the book. And before we end, Mark, what did you just drop in the chat box? Mark, what was that you just dropped in the box?
I don't even see the chat book.
Well, since we're self-promoting, I put in there the American Horror Story teaser that I did, a custom track that I did for this.
Oh, all right. Is this the new season or is this the
new season?
It's a new season.
Sweet. Nice.
The latest.
Since we're self-promoting each other, did anybody in here fans of Ren and Stimpy the cartoon?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Jackson, he was this close. He just wrote the theme for the new season that's coming out. Mark was this close to having written the theme. He wrote it.
Oh, wow.
But they didn't ultimately choose it, right, Mark?
Not necessarily. That's the thing.
Okay.
I just had a lunch and they said, we don't know yet. And I think they're still trying to clear like the permissions for with the original for Nickelodeon and all that. They're trying to get all that going, and it's animation, everything's slow. So she felt fairly hopeful that it might work. So it's
Mark
not out. It's not dead.
Maybe have written Mark does a lot of this kind of stuff, by the way.
We're gonna keep our eyes because I friggin' love Ren and Stimpy.
I love Ren and Stimpy.
Mark and I used
so
to
good.
watch it, and we couldn't believe what we were watching. For him to get the opportunity is surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really happy about that. It's awesome.
Super
We'll
cool.
see.
Thank y'all so much. It has been a dream.
I want to thank you guys for that's so
Oh, man.
nice
Yeah.
to be appreciated with with this
Absolutely.
involvement, this stuff, and it's just really unexpected and really gratifying, and really appreciate it.
You guys rock.
Thank y'all so much. And
Very
this is not the end. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. Be prepared to get the hell promoted out of y'all.
Oh,
So
thank you.
Oh, he'll
we
do it.
love you. We
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks so
you.
much.
Very
Thank
sweet.
you guys too.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
rock on.
Everybody.
Bye-bye, Ashley. Bye-bye, Helena.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Hades. Bye-bye.
Bye, Hades.
Bye, Jane.
That's all, folks.